Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midweek Mix-Up Weekend Edition. Today, we have our first special guest, and that is Chris from 1 Hour 1 Decision. How are you doing today, Chris?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Yeah, doing well. Doing well.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Played a few games this week, among a few other things.
Yes, indeed. This is a much... and Chris, unlike Midweek Mix-Up, this is a much more relaxed atmosphere. Just sit back, chill out, chat, enjoy it. I hope everybody in the chat as well has got their cups of coffee, drinks, snacks, your Sunday lunch, whatever it is you have ready. Enjoy it. Chris, welcome to the show, brother. What is it that you've been up to? What you've been playing recently? I know, obviously, you play the games specifically for the show, which can at times be frustrating because sometimes you have to play a game and you have to just get it out the way of. But other than being forced to play specific games for your own podcast, what is it that that you've been playing for enjoyment purposes?
Death's Door has taken over my life, but
Yeah?
I finally did beat it, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game. And I was a little afraid there was going to be like a roguelike, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. But it was really fun. I think it was closer to like a Metroidvania because of like all the backtracking and stuff like that. But it was such a cool little game. And I just realized that NoClip did a documentary on them, so I'm excited to watch that on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
yeah,
I haven't played that myself yet. I do need to get around to it because I've heard so
Definitely.
many good things.
yeah, it's so good. So definitely give that a shot. Other than that, I'm slowly working through because the game was not on Game Pass anymore. I'm slowly working through Yakuza Kiwami 2. And
Okay, nice.
that was I got to I'm stuck at a boss, and I'm like, because I didn't do any of the side missions, so I have none of the like extra like buffs for my character for him, and so I'm just like just struggling with him right now, just getting my ass wiped. So it was
I
not
couldn't
fun.
get into that as much as I enjoyed playing it. I couldn't grasp the game.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
It's just so ridiculous. It's just like throwing bikes at people is always a good time. So
I've seen so many funny clips of that game though. It does look like a hilarious time.
yeah, and the localization is amazing too. Like translating everything from English, Japanese to English is just, they did a great job with that. So I
It's
think they
such
had a good
a
time.
such a weird series.
It
Such
is.
a very strange series.
It really
Like
is.
the combat, obviously outside of Like a Dragon, which isn't anything like combat wise like the previous iterations, because the other ones are like an action fighting game, whereas Like a Dragon's a JRPG essentially.
Yeah.
It's entirely
But
different, but
you
there
kind of
still is
move around
weird.
though, like while you're
Yeah,
in combat in Yakuza, like a dragon. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you still have to like set your combat moves or whatever it is. But
It's
it's
just the worlds and the stories and the characters are just so weird and strange.
yeah, yeah. But it's like, and the other thing that makes it's kind of weird with that game, or the cutscenes are very serious, but
Yeah.
then like when you're going through the actual game, it's like all the most ridiculous stuff happens, and you're like, wait, what? There's
Oh yeah,
it's
completely ridiculous. And like he always, like, specifically in Like a Dragon, he talks about how much he loves playing video games and like his favorite video game and stuff like that. And he's like, they're all just like looking at him as like, you still play games? Like you're like this big Yakuza like gangster, like, and you play
right,
games. Like, what you doing?
right.
Yeah, one of my friends is really into the Yakuza games. I think he's on the fourth one. Is his next one? He just finished the third one.
Nice.
Is that is he? I'm guessing that's a byproduct then of the games going into Game Pass. Is he only just discovering them because of
Yeah,
Game Pass?
yeah. Now he's proper into them. He's
Yeah.
really enjoying them.
It's a lot of people like that, because again, it's something that has been on PlayStation for a significant amount of time, and it's never been there. So I think once Like a Dragon announced it was cross like multi-platform and essentially coming out for everything day one, that kind of opened the doors for it, and because of its success on the platform in general, just I think that made getting the rest of the series into Game Pass a lot easier.
Yeah,
It's the
no, it's a
power of
beauty. Game
Pass.
Pass. There's so many games on there you can try out that you end up loving, and then it gets you right into the series. Then
Oh, too right. And it's what it is. It's great to see it. And one of the things I've been seeing a lot more recently, specifically, is a lot more Japanese indie developers creating titles for the platform, which is really good to see. And that's not often I've seen it up until very recently.
you may hear my dog snore.
Yes, yeah, I thought I was wondering
Hear that?
that. Bless him.
She's under the desk at the moment. There's no one else in the house at the moment either, so she's with me because she don't like being on her own. So apologies in advance if you hear loud snoring. That's the dog.
Don't worry. So Chris, are you almost done with that Yakuza then? Are you only part way through it, or you're miles away?
I honestly don't know how far I am in that game because
It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, because like I've heard that they go like 40 to 50 hours or something like that.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm hearing too.
I definitely don't think, but like I'm just trying to just go through the main storyline and not like go get sidetracked. But
Yeah.
no idea. I think I'm at the first like big boss, so I'm probably only like a quarter of the way through, if that.
Sweet. No, it's to be fair, I need to get back into Like a Dragon. I know for a fact that I did not like the way that the previous Yakuzas before Like a Dragon felt, the way they handled the gameplay and things like that. That wasn't for me. Like a Dragon, on the other hand, apart from the extremely long cutscenes in between fighting or doing anything, apart from that, and you know what it is, it's a good thing that the cutscenes are both amusing and in some cases then good or fun to watch, or intriguing in some cases, like sections in the beginning where you find out like more the backstory to what's happened, and how someone became who they are and so on and so forth, and that kind of stuff's intriguing. But then you get some other like really stupid things like your sidekick doing like errands and things, and he's just yabbering on about absolutely nothing for 10 minutes. But saying that, like I say, I'll pass on the previous ones. That it's not for me. But the current one, Like a Dragon, and I know now, thankfully, they've mentioned Judgment, and the Judgment series is going to be more like the previous Yakuzas, and Like a Dragon's going to stay JRPG. So not Yakuza series is going to stay JRPG, and the Judgment series is going to stay like an action game. So I'm happy about that because that means I'll probably end up playing more of the Yakuza games going forward if they're going to stay like that.
I might try out Like a Dragon myself.
It's fun.
It is a good game, and you know what it is. It doesn't take itself seriously.
No,
like it has like its underlying story is a serious one. Of course, you're a mafia hitman. You're like a hard man. There's quite a lot of serious notes going on underneath, but above that, having like a hobo that like has pissed himself and things, or men in nappies as your like summon abilities, and
the attack to summons are hilarious in that game. Like,
yeah.
I think that stuff wild. There kind of reminds me of the South Park RPGs.
Yeah,
it's a bit crazy like 100%.
That. But no, I think you'd like it. Especially if you like turn-based JRPGs, I think you very, very much like it. But Jen, what you been up to, bro? What you been playing?
Played a bit of Minecraft this week. Played Unpacking and finally completed that. About 7 hours in total. It was a fun little game, just unpacking stuff. You don't think there's going to be much of a story to it, but it does turn out there's a little sort of story in the background, and it all really does come together towards the end of the game, and it's pretty sweet story. Played a few other games, mainly just to 1,000 gamer score them.
Yeah.
That's really it, gaming wise. I did play a bit of Rainbow Six Extraction, and not for me.
Oh.
Yeah, not into it. I prefer the normal Rainbow Six, but Extraction, not for me.
No.
Did you play with others or just by yourself?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask.
I just played the tutorial and I was like, I don't really really like this. I don't get why they're going in this direction with the aliens and stuff. It just didn't make a whole bunch of sense to me with a Rainbow Six game. So I just got rid of it.
I was going to say, I think it's because I've heard the same thing. As a solo game, I've heard it's pretty poor. But I've heard as a co-op game, it is a lot of fun. But there's a lot, the thing is though, is there's a lot of games like that on the in general in gaming right now, and I think it's kind of saturated. Like these horde mode, zombie mode type of things, and like there's loads of them. Like we've literally just had the Aliens game, and now we've got
and now we've got. It feels like I've played it before, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a saturated section there, and I'm exactly the same. I don't know whether or not their other game as well, because obviously they've got that one out, and then they've got that what's the other one, which is like Division-esque, the free to play thing that they're bringing out.
X-Defiant.
That's the one. That's going to do exactly the same. That's going to be exactly the same.
I know I'm going to try that and be like, no, this ain't for me. I don't like what they're doing with the Tom Clancy IPs.
No,
that's why I'm so scared what they're going to do with Splinter Cell.
Yep.
Like, oh God.
Yep, I can feel it now.
I'm glad it's a
this Splinter Cell
reboot
out, and then they'll do some sort of spin-off, and it'll be a zombie spin-off or some shit. I'm not interested in. I'm over the zombie thing now.
Definitely, I am so glad it's a reboot first, and they're not touching like a brand new game. I want to see what they can come up with the reboot first.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the reboot if they don't mess it up. So I'm being a little bit optimistic with them.
But that's also why I'm glad they're doing just a reboot, because at least then they're not going to ruin a game, because the game's already out. Like, we've already got the historic game. They can't break that. All they can do is try to remake it, and if they don't remake it well, we've still got the original. The problem you've got is if they bring up brand new title, Splinter Cell Infinite.
I just hope they don't do a Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive and take them older games off the stores.
Oh man,
they need to keep those around for preserving them.
Yeah, I agree. That would be horrific. I would hate that immensely.
Now I've said it, it's going to happen. You watch. I should have just shut my mouth.
Who's writing down the notes? Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. What else can we do? NFTs, you say?
I'll turn them old games into NFTs.
Yeah.
Oh god.
NFTs, you say?
Definitely. You mentioned NFT. Make it happen.
Here's one I made earlier.
We already had it ready. We knew you'd ask.
We didn't ask
me. That's right. But yeah, what else are you playing then? Anything else? Anything else going on?
That's about it. Oh no, I did play a little bit of Feeding Frenzy. I thought I'd load that up. It's a game I played a long time ago.
Yes.
A little bit of fun with that, and then deleted it.
I have to say, I've been in between doing things for the channel and YouTube and whatnot. Other than that, I've been playing Pokemon, believe it or not. The new Pokemon Arceus Legends, and I've shared the initial thoughts with these guys beforehand, both in DMs and then in the green room before we started, and then my thoughts after getting past what I would call a really lengthy intro for anyone that's used to Pokemon. I would say for a new starter, the intro could be okay because it teaches you everything, but it's so slow going. And because they still haven't done any form of voice acting in the game, like any.
Oh, that's a bit disappointing.
It's all text-based. I mean, I really would have thought by now, even just a couple of the main characters. Like, just a couple, please. I beg you. Like, get the original, because it was a woman that did Ash Ketchum. It wasn't a bloke. Get the original woman who did Ash Ketchum in to do, like, Ash's voice or something. Like, something similar like that, because it's familiar. And even from the series now, you've got that kind of familiarity from the olden days of Pokemon's TV series. Just get a few of those voices back. Or the people that did those voices, because no doubt they'd come up with something pretty similar.
That would be cool to see them go in that direction, where it's more like a narrative driven with actual voice actors.
You know what it is? The great thing about this one is it has much more of a narrative about it now. It is more of an actual. You don't have like gyms or anything now, because it's based like historically ancient. You're in like you've zapped through this portal into this like world that is like light years before when all the other Pokemons have happened.
It's pretty interesting.
So you're classed as some outsider. You've fallen through like this space-time continuum that's come out of nowhere, and they're like, where have you come from? And they don't trust you, and you've got to kind of earn your respect. And you go and help this village that you land in, and they're like, well, the only way you can gain our respect is by going out and doing some work for us. So you're going to be a researcher, and you've got to go and collect Pokemon, and then do all these research tasks along the way. The research tasks are normally about like things that happen in battle. So it's either catching Pokemon to get them, or how many times you see a move or do a move, or feed Pokemon certain things, or do certain things in battle around the world. And then you build up your experience, and via that you get level ups as well as cash to use on things. You unlock items and different Pokemon, and yeah, there's a lot more to it now than just go from gym to gym. And then that's it. Like that's all you have to do. In every other Pokemon, it's like gym to gym, and then there's always like Team Rocket or Team something, kind of trying to kill you in the background or take over the world.
I did see that little sort of Pokemon knockoff that come to Xbox.
Oh, you know what it is? That's
what's
really
it called?
Good. Necromon or something.
Yeah, I want to play that. I might have to grab that.
It's like £10.
Yeah, I might have to grab that. So I've been looking for a monster game like that where I don't have to buy
a
Nintendo Switch. So yeah, it could be my my bootleg Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a look. See what.
There was one that came out on Steam that I bought and I just haven't played. I can't remember what it's called though. Damn, I'm blanking on that. I don't remember the name of the game.
I can't even see the name of it now. I was talking with Paul from Thistledew about this the other day, because Thistledew posted the picture of it on their channel, on their Twitter. If you have a look there, they've been playing it, and they're saying exactly the same thing as you. They don't want to have to buy a Nintendo to play something like that.
Was it
Nexamon? That's what it's called.
Nexamon.
Okay,
Nexamon Extinction Monster Catching RPG.
Yep. And it's got a good story behind it. Again, it doesn't have voice acting or anything like that, but it's like more of an anime art style than Pokemon is.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out because I want a good old game, Pokemon style, without having to buy another console and buy the 100%. Game and buy a controller because I don't want to use the Joy-Cons.
How long did it take for Final Fantasy to have voice acting?
Oof.
Till
I
think it was 10.
Yes, 10 was the first. Yep. Yeah, that's right.
So they just need to make 10 more of these Legends games, and then
it'll be good. Yeah.
I
mean, we've got a little bit in Zelda, like a little bit, but even your main character doesn't have a voice in Zelda. Like it's just some of the. And even then, not every character has one in Zelda either. Like Breath of the Wild, I think it's only like some of the key figures that are like standing around the world, and they don't say much. Like it's just like kind of set dialogue. So I don't know why they don't really go for it again, unless it just saves on space to be able to fit onto these cartridges they have to use. And I know audio takes up a lot of space. So I wonder if that's part of the issue that they've got there. Just trying to condense it so they're still sticking text-based stuff in like 2022. Jesus wept. But here we are. But yes, speaking of Pokemon, whilst we get into today's topics, I have some glorious game footage for you all to watch. Oh, there we go. There we go. Some delicious Pokemon game footage for you all. But yes. Today we have quite a bit to get through, actually, because there was a lot of news came out this week.
It's been a big news week.
A big news week, yes. I think we'll start with one of the easiest and smallest ones, and that is the announcement that Crysis 4 is returning eventually. It's been a long time. Crysis 4, of course, is probably a long-awaited title for them to see what that studio still got in them. Of course, a lot of people want Rise 2. I think everybody included, wants a new Rise. We all want to see what happens with Rise. We want to see a follow-up to that because the story in Rise was absolutely awesome.
It was really good. Gameplay loop was a little repetitive, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I mean, I think I talked about this before. It is so cool that like when you make the slash, like when you make an attack and cause damage, it's actually visible on the character. Which is really cool.
It is.
I don't think there's many games that have done that after that, right?
No.
It had a fairly decent multiplayer as well, like a co-op sort of multiplayer thing.
Yeah, the actual Colosseum. Yeah, the Colosseum was really good. It was like make you feel like an actual gladiator, and then the higher you ranked up, the more stuff you got, and the more powerful you became, and it was awesome. It was really fun, actually.
I'm still surprised how long it takes to load the game on the Series X. It takes forever.
Yeah, they just haven't touched that game since it was released. They literally haven't done anything to it. They just left it, which is a shame because it's still stuck at 900p, which is like Jesus wept. And even on PC, like the highest you can go is 1080. You can't go higher. You can't use DLSS or anything like that. There's nothing you can do to it to make it look better than it is. So it's kind of just stuck. I mean, it's a good job the game looks beautiful, regardless of its resolution. But yeah,
I take it that Crytek actually owned the Rise IP then.
Yes, I think it's. I think it's maybe joint ownership with Microsoft or Xbox. Whether or not Microsoft gave them it back, like completely. But it was certainly developed in collaboration with Microsoft Xbox. So I'd imagine Microsoft have some hold over that IP. Much like they did Alan Wake before they let Alan Wake's IP go.
I'd like to see Rise go in the sort of like Assassin's Creed direction without all the Animus fluff that they put in the game.
Yeah.
I think that could do pretty good. Story-driven game, none of that open world, dragged out nonsense.
Even then, yeah, I mean, just like semi-open world, like not like open world, because I think that would ruin it. I think the semi-open world along the kind of same route that you get on God of War, for instance, that semi-open world where you've still got the linear paths, you've still got the areas to go through, but then it opens up to wider sections. Specifically, if you've got the big battle scenes, like there's had some of the most epic battle sequences in that game. Like when you've got your full troops behind you, and you've got to like use the troops to launch arrows over the top, and you've got to direct them like when to throw and when not to throw. And even then, that was the perfect implementation of Kinect, because all you had to do was like shout at them. You didn't even have to use the controller. You could just say like loose, and then woof, and a fire of arrows over the top. That was awesome. That was the only time Kinect actually came in useful for me. Was Rise.
I don't think I even used it for that, to be honest.
Did you not?
No.
That was awesome in Rise because you literally you were just guiding your soldiers, like your troop. Like that's all it was there for. It was to like have your archers fire at things when you wanted them to. You could tell them to like aim and fire.
Yeah, I can't say I was very into Kinect, to be honest. So that's probably why I didn't use the functionality for that.
Now you see, mine was always just plugged in for Xbox, like turning your Xbox on and turning the Xbox off and things like that. But even then, anytime it would hear the word Xbox, even if it was in party chat, it would be like, "Link, hello." I'm like, no. Or your friends would shout through the TV if your headset wasn't connected yet. They'd be like, "Xbox, turn off." It'd be off. Like,
or an advert comes on the TV and your Xbox turns on.
Yep. Oh dear me. So yeah, there's good and bad things about Kinect. I think Xbox do need to make their own camera again, much like PlayStation do, like a nice high-spec camera for streaming and things. I think that would come in handy with a really good microphone built into it. That if you can't press kind of going down the should we say the streaming route and saying, "Oh, now you can stream this, we're making streaming better in X, Y, and Z," and then not have anything there for people who want to do that other than having to use headsets. Like, I think the camera would be awesome, but it's in time. In time, it's not like essential. So, but in terms of
Crysis, oh sorry,
Yeah, I was going to say in terms of Crysis 4. Yeah, go on, Chris, because you were just
No,
about
I
to
was
say
just curious
something.
because like I thought that I thought Amazon bought something from them, or did they buy the engine or something like that at one point? Or did that never happen?
I don't know.
I
I
thought
don't know. I
Amazon
can't
did something
remember.
with them. But like, yeah,
Can't.
I've noticed it like slowly put out like I know there's a game that generally you play, Hunt Showdown, every once in a while.
Yeah, I love that game.
That's a Crytek or it's a
Yeah.
Crytek game.
Yeah, Crytek game.
Then there's like a VR game that they did, like it's like a climbing simulator, but like on or like a parkour style game, which looks pretty cool.
Don't know about
they're
that.
coming out with a
I've not
second.
seen that.
I think they're coming out with a second one for that relatively soon.
Back in 20. No, this is years ago. This. The licensed, so essentially they allowed Amazon, they licensed out the Crytek engine to Amazon back in 2015. But obviously with the Amazon, so Amazon might still be using that for upcoming games, but they've licensed out the Crytek engine to Amazon for between 50 to 70 million. I mean, I don't blame them because like Crytek and the guys over there aren't the not profit like the most profitable of studios. They did have quite a lot of financial issues. I took quite a bit of time to work through, and the reason we haven't really heard much from them over the recent years is because of those financial issues. I think it's trying to balance the books and develop games and make some kind of profit to stay afloat has been one of their toughest things. So I think Hunt Showdown was actually their last proper title, and I think they did to a point really kind of rely on that to be successful. And I
It's got a
think
very niche player base.
it has got a niche player base, but I think it is semi-successful.
It's growing. Like, every
Yeah.
time new content comes to that game, it goes over its original peak, and then it goes higher and higher. So it is on the rise.
Yeah,
I've been a supporter of that game since early access. And I've been on and
slowly but
off
surely
of it
getting
for a
better.
while, and then like a year and a half ago, I just got proper into it, and I've been playing it on and off for that long.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
my main game that I put a lot of time and effort into.
So what was the last Crysis you guys both played?
The third one.
The third. Was it the same for
I
you,
never
Chris?
played
Or
the first or second.
I think I played the second one.
the second was the last one you played?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, I mean, the one thing they've always done is pushed the boat out in terms of graphical fidelity, and Crytek and CryEngine have never been shy to say that they want to push the possibilities of what we see and do on the TV. But obviously, Crysis 1, infamous. Crysis 2, again, same thing. Crysis 3, I think a very intriguing story, and they try to go down much more of a story-based route for Crysis 3. There was actual predominant characters there. For the first Crysis 1 and Crysis 2 was much more of a Far Cry element to it. A much more open world Far Cry-esque kind of game, should we say. But 3, I did really enjoy that, and obviously getting your powers and being able to like obviously turn invisible and sneak up on enemies, or like harden the shells so you could absorb loads of damage, or it was just very intriguing. And I like how you like the person that is currently in the suit is essentially would die if he's not in the suit anymore. And that's essentially what happens at the tail end of 3, is the person that was in that suit kind of obviously then the next person gets in the suit afterwards at the very tail end of 3. And the previous occupant of that suit is dead.
It is something I do want to go back and try. So I might end up just binging through the series a little bit closer to when the fourth one comes out. So I'm sort of ready for the fourth one.
Really good games. Really good games.
No release date or anything like that, right?
No release date, no. It's just they've just essentially announced where it is now in active development. So they are now making Crysis 4 again. So I think it's only a positive thing. You know, it is Crysis and Crytek. Well, sorry, CryEngine and Crytek. They're a really great studio. They haven't had the best of luck in terms of sales success, should we say, with their games, regardless of how good their games have been and how much they've pushed the boundaries of what we've been able to do in video games. They haven't really had the success they've deserved. So, but they've never also, and this is a positive thing for them, they've never been surrounded in controversy. Like they've never had like any bad articles about the company or the staff or the engine or anybody that works for them or what they do. And even then, when the games have come out, it's never been this game's broken, it doesn't work. It's just this game's it requires far too much processing power to get running. It's the only thing
Hunt
that
Showdown.
Yep.
Hunt Showdown is very hit and miss. Sometimes I load the game up and I get into a game and like the game just breaks down. Very rarely. I had it happen a couple of weeks ago, and you could like see through buildings and all that.
Yeah.
And that's a PvP game, so you kind of
have an advantage.
Shouldn't really use that to your advantage, but you can. I'll get banned for that now.
But I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they come up with this one. And obviously, one thing we can be sure of is that they're going to push the boat out in terms of graphical fidelity. If any game that's coming out in the next 4 years is going to look absolutely next level, it's going to be Crysis 4. Like I think everybody kind of knows that because the Cry engine is phenomenal, and what they've done with that engine over the years is just insane. And obviously, Hunt Showdown's a very pretty game in itself. Like especially when that thing's on full tilt. That game's extremely impressive.
It's such a good game. The sound design, the graphics are pretty good. The gameplay is amazing. Everything makes that game near perfect, in my opinion.
Well, most definitely. I'm really looking forward to seeing this team kind of get back on their feet.
It's funny though because
success.
Because Hunt Showdown wasn't always what it was. It was actually planned to be a co-op shooter game, and then it evolved from that into a first-person PvPvE game.
Okay.
So, yeah. There's like a whole sort of, I think it's like an 8-minute video out there of what Hunt was originally called. It was like Hunt, and it had a different subtitle, and then they eventually turned it into Hunt Showdown. I do hope that they add some story content to Hunt Showdown because I think it's got some really good lore and could make a really good story-orientated game.
I thought there was a rumor that they're making a TV show.
They are making a TV show, apparently.
Okay.
Whether that actually happens is another thing. It's supposed to be in production,
exactly.
But things like that, they come and go like that.
That's true.
How many times has TV shows died before they've even got off the ground?
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I mean, speaking of TV, this is a nice little segue. Speaking of TV shows, unfortunately, the TV show trailer is not out yet, but it is later on this evening for our US compatriots, and that is the Halo TV show, which is getting its official trailer released during halftime of the football or the American football game.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. During the halftime there.
Wait, it's the Super Bowl already? Bloody hell, that's come and gone quick.
Yeah.
So during the halftime there, it's getting its release trailer, but we have seen glimpses of it thanks to the shortened teaser trailer.
Yeah, like a little fizzle reel that they showed off.
Fizzle reel, and I'm telling you that Halo series looks mightily impressive so far. It's starting to look very, very intriguing. And correct me if I'm wrong, and it wasn't just me, but the first person that was on the screen at the beginning of that trailer was Master Chief. It was 117 on his uniform.
Yeah, I believe it was.
It looked like an entirely different armor set, though.
I think it's the same armor. I don't know. Let me find it again.
It was a little bit a little different. Like if you had the colorways, at least specifically, the colorways aren't the same as his regular green Molyneux outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find it now.
You know how sometimes TV shows or like the costume designers take their little liberties with things and add their little flair to stuff. So,
oh yeah. definitely. I mean, it's going to look in there like.
It's very
I
close
might
to the
just to be
game
it.
costume.
I was going to say it might just be because it's a little bit more battle worn on this one, and it's like certain parts of the light. Because I've got it up here. I think it's certain parts of the lighting on his uniform, but the 117 is like scraped off almost, like it's like scraped off underneath
Yeah,
here.
very battle worn.
Yeah, but it looks really impressive, mind.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sure
really excited for this. A lot of people are complaining that it's not based on like canon. I'm not too bothered about that because
it doesn't need to be based on canon. You want a series like that based on its own story.
I want it to be its own standalone thing because I don't want to see what I've already seen. If I wanted to do that, I'd just go and play the Halo games again.
Yeah, exactly.
I want something different. I want something that's going to have some twists and turns and surprises and change the story that I know and love, obviously for the better and not for the worse, so that I'm surprised. So, I'm not going, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen next.
But like, would you be okay with it as long as there's like, I guess there has to be like Halo rules, right?
As long as the core Halo elements are there, I'm fine with the changes.
The one thing I really hope is that, unlike the previous installments of Halo films and things like that, which have largely been very niche, should we say, for people who have watched them, no one outside of gaming knows they exist. What I'd really love for this is to be able to stand on its own 2 feet and be as popular or close to as popular as the likes of the Witcher series on Netflix.
I'd love for that. The actor playing Master Chief is a really good actor. I've seen him in a few things, and I enjoy him in those shows. I think he was in American Gods.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name. Let me find him. Terrible at remembering things at the moment.
I've got to agree with Lost Forever though. I think, and I said it quite a long time ago. If there's anybody that you need to get on board just to even help the studio financially to be able to ensure they create games going forward, and even then get one of the best engines in the business, definitely get Crytek on board. 100%.
Pablo Schreiber is the guy playing Master Chief.
He's on The Wire too, I think, right?
Yeah, he's a really tall dude as well. I think he's like 6 foot something. So I can see why they've gone for him because Master Chief's like 7 foot something.
Yes, yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense. You know what it is? It's absolutely. I'm just so glad that they're taking someone's taken Halo on a TV series / show seriously.
I think it will do good because it's not been rushed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Most things like that get rushed and they die in their infancy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%
There's plenty of TV shows out there that shouldn't have made it to 11 seasons. Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yep. That should have been put to bed a long time ago.
Yep. Or they should have reduced the amount of episodes and it would have survived for 11 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like this last season's 23 or 24 episodes for this final 11th season, and I'm sitting there like, what? Why?
End it already.
Just kill it already.
Why?
It's the franchise that won't die. And then the worst thing is they're ending the main show, and there's going to be plenty of spin-off shows.
Wasn't there already one? Was it Fear the Walking Dead? Is that the other one?
Yeah, and that started out bad, but it got really good. Apart from the last season, there's some questionable things that happened in the last season that I was like, that's pretty stupid. I'm just going to spoil it. A nuke goes off, and these people are so close to the nuke that they don't get obliterated. And then there's some that are further away than other people, and they get turned to ash. And I'm sitting there like, okay, have you never ever looked at what happens when a nuke goes off?
Yeah, it's a bit backwards, to say the least.
Yeah, so don't expect anything good from the Walking Dead shows. There was another spin-off show, and it was really, really bad. I don't like to use the word cringy often, but it was cringy.
Yeah.
Is there? And then I heard, Norman Reedus is potentially playing Ghost Rider in the MCU.
I can see that. He's a love for motorcycles. Will probably be what gets him.
That'd be good. Yeah,
that would be good.
That would be a good fit, to be honest. Very good fit.
Excited
Better
for it.
than Nick Cage. Was it Nick Cage that did it first time around?
Not the bees.
Yeah, the bee. Though he was jacked in that movie. I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know. He was on some sort of steroids.
That was
I'm
just a
only
part. That was
tuning
just a
into
point
Walking
in
Dead
time, though,
now.
when Nick Cage was in everything.
Yeah.
He still is.
He is.
Pretty
It's true,
much.
He is still.
He'll be in anything for a couple of quid. I want to get him to pop up in one of my Hunt Showdown videos that I've got planned.
Yeah, we'll just get him on the show.
But yeah, like the only reason I'm still watching The Walking Dead is just because I want to see how bad the ending is, so I can laugh at it now. I've invested too much time to give up on it. I need to see how bad it is at the end.
I started watching. Some a new Japanese zombie series on Netflix,
I've started watching that as well.
based in the school.
Yeah. I can't
Yeah,
remember what it's called though. Like 3 episodes in,
it's something like We're Dead Now or something.
we're all dead or something like that.
It's something similar to that. It's such it, but it's what it is. And they've done the semi decent English dub
Mm,
for them,
yeah.
like they did in Squid Games. But they're starting to bring a lot more of them over now. That's specifically meant for worldwide audience, and it's actually it's well done, to be honest.
That's
well
what it's
done.
called. All of Us Are Dead,
All of Us Are Dead.
and I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, I'm
And
probably
it,
about
like, it
7
goes to
episodes in
show
or something.
a little Korean zombie TV show can be better than The Walking Dead, which is a huge titan on TV.
You know what it is? It's because it gets straight to the point. Like first
Yeah.
episode, everything happens. Like people start getting bit, people start getting
Mm.
sick, and then that's it. And then it just kicks off. And
Yeah,
then
and
the subsequent, like even then, you don't understand. Like you don't even realize when the next episode's kicking in. It just feels like it's just the same episode.
Yeah,
Like,
and
just
they're like,
like a direct continuation with nothing's like ridiculous. Everyone's just like,
it's not
"Are
like
you
5
infected?
days
You're not
later.
infected?"
It's an episode that's dragged out. Get to know
All the
this
same day.
character you don't care about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I like about those Korean TV shows like Squid Game. I love that it was one season, and the bloke who made it said he doesn't know whether there's going to be another season because
Yeah.
he's working on other stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
I didn't need a second season, to be honest. I mean, to be honest, the only thing Squid Game would get in a second season is another Squid Game. So it'd just be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same things happening again, but with different characters.
Yeah.
And potentially until like it's some kind of try and break the loop and like break the hierarchy eventually. But at the end of the first one, if people
I
haven't
could
seen
see
it,
them
at the end
doing
of the first
couple
one, they
more
try to
seasons
do
of that.
Yeah,
Maybe like because it gives you the hint that they're different countries that do a similar thing. So maybe the next season will be set in a different country.
But obviously at the end of the first as well, and obviously sorry to people who haven't watched it. I wouldn't say spoilers because I'm not going to say that. But the end of the first one, the guy who was playing Squid Games all the way through sees a guy that's kind of just about to be initiated into the Squid Games again, and he's like, "Nope, I'm not standing for this anymore. Like we've just been through this." And he turns around after leaving, trying to leave the country and go elsewhere. Turns around and tries to what looks like put a stop to it or try to bring it down. But then that's the end of the season. Massive shout out. Super chat here from Crazy Louis Gaming. I've read the previous message as well. He says his internet company's being bad today. But a $10 super chat from Crazy Louis. Have an awesome show. Thank you very much, Louis, brother. And same to you. I hope your internet comes back up recently. Well, at least as soon as possible, so you can enjoy not only our show but all the other shows that you usually tune into. But thank you very much for that, brother. You have an awesome day. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that at the minute, and I just hope that, and this is another, not to put a slant against the likes of Paramount Plus or anything, but this possibly would have been served better if it had have been a Netflix or if had have been an Amazon, because they've got the audience to kickstart something like this.
See,
you know what I mean?
We don't actually get Paramount Plus in this country for another few years, so I'm wondering where it's going to go in the UK.
Sky has got a deal to get. Sky's got a deal to get Paramount Plus when that launches on their service. So they have Paramount Plus as a channel on Sky.
That's a bit naughty.
Yeah,
they're trying to get me to get Sky again.
Not going to happen. So we're going. You know what we're going to do?
Special websites for that.
Yes, the special website.
Yeah. Well, Muppet had a good idea in the chat to add it to Game Pass.
That would be cool. Yeah.
That would be awesome. I think they should do. To be honest, I think they should just put it in there.
They
on
might
Game
do
Pass.
that. They might do that as maybe a Game Pass perk.
Well, it's their own IP, so they can't say no, can they?
Because I think Sky's On Demand is just called Now TV in the UK, right?
Yes, yeah, and that would.
So they might do
I mean,
a month Now
something like
TV
that.
or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah, Muppet did greenlight season 2, but it hasn't been written. Like they've said, if you want to do a Squid Games season 2, well, like you've got to go ahead because it's like one of the most successful TV shows on Netflix, period, ever. Like that thing is like just did insane numbers.
that. Yep, that and Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Cobra Kai.
It's a good show.
Squid Games is Netflix's biggest ever series at launch.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It was so good. Like I was so hesitant to watch it because I heard
so
so many good things about it, and I was like, it can't be that good, right?
142 million people watched it in the first 4 weeks.
Bloody hell.
Everyone loves battle royales, I guess. Sorry.
You know what it is? It was an intriguing way of doing the battle royale, though. It was a very interesting story because it's like, right, we're going to pick on the poor, and we're going to not just the poor, but the people that are in serious debt that they will never get out of. And we're going to give them a chance to get out of that debt if they compete in a life or death situation.
Well, the battle royale genre gets its inspiration from that Japanese movie Battle Royale,
Yes,
and that was really fucking good movie. The second one, not so much, but the first one was amazing.
Yeah. But there's a lot of them do that. I mean, obviously the film The Departed, that originally came from again another Japanese. I think it was a Japanese or Chinese thing.
Yes. Oh my god. What was the name of that movie?
Same with that movie Old Boy.
Yeah.
And then they made the Josh Brolin version of Old Boy.
Let's have a look.
Was it Police Story or something?
It might have been
Raid?
something like that. Internal Affairs.
Internal Affairs. Yes.
Yes. So it was originally Internal Affairs. It was a literal identical film. The difference was, of course, it was based in Japan over on that one, and this one was based in New York with the Irish mafia. Such a great film. Yeah. Was it Boston?
Yeah.
It was. Yes, it was. You're right. Such an awesome film. But I mean, both of them were absolutely brilliant. One of my favorite films of all time is The Departed. It's just so well done. Bless your dog.
Loud, isn't she? She's only tiny. She's a little Boston Terrier.
Bless it.
Having a good old snooze.
The Halo talk does get us onto the next topic, though, which is, of course, which also leads into two topics. So there is rumors that Certain Affinity, who are already partnered with Microsoft, are working on the Battle Royale mode. Speaking of Battle Royales as well, God, this is a good interlink. We're speaking of Battle Royales and we're speaking of Halo. We're going into
all the segues today. All the segues.
Yeah. It's So apparently, Certain Affinity are working on the Battle Royale mode for Halo Infinite.
Interesting.
We've mentioned, of course, previously, and Certain Affinity are really good developers. They've had some really good works in the past. I think that particular mode's in good hands. It is good to know that they're allowing their internal teams to concentrate on the important matters, and farming this mode out to a second or third party to do it. That gives me a lot more hope for the game itself progressing in other ways before that. So if they're saying, all right, well, we're concentrating on the next campaign kind of edition, as well as improvements and maps for the standard multiplayer, but we're going to give Certain Affinity this Battle Royale to work on. Go for it. I think that's the best of both worlds for players and developers.
Yeah. If it is 100% a battle royale game, I'm hoping they advertise it as a battle royale evolved, kind of like how Halo Combat Evolved re-evolved the FPS genre.
I mean, it makes sense though that you just drop down in your ODST dropships. Like that would be the best. That would be absolutely awesome to just have this like massive play field with ODST. And I think the fitting thing to do would be that the circle that encloses around you would just be the flood.
Could do, or I could do it as parts of the ring just fall away, and as you're moving into the zone,
just gradually getting destroyed. I think the flood would make an interesting and very. You don't want to be caught outside the circle because it's just flood.
Yeah.
You would never survive because obviously, yes, you might not. And then obviously, when it stops, then the flood just like as if some kind of force field stopping them from progressing any further. But you'll never survive out there either because it's just an infinite amount of flood.
I just don't want it to be another rinse and repeat of every other battle royale game we've got. They really need to sit down and think about what they're going to do with it before releasing it.
Put their own spin on it.
I don't want to see Halo Call of Duty Warzone.
No, I agree. What would you actually like to see from? Because I've is my perfect ones. I don't know how they do the weapons, and because there is no weapon attachments in Halo, so I don't know how they do that, or whether or not you just pick up guns and you set
in
them
Halo 5, there was a lot of variations of weapons, so maybe they could bring attachments into it in a way. I don't know. How
the only attachments really would you'd be able to do is like say on a battle rifle, you start with an iron sight and you have to find a scope. Like something as simple as that. Just remove the iron sight from VR.
And you've got the slightly more powerful versions of the battle rifles in Halo Infinite's campaign.
Yeah.
So,
and obviously the power weapons you only find like in crates or these drop ships that just launch down into random locations throughout the day or whatever it is. But my ideal thing, the basic thing would be drop down in drop ships. I think that's just the basic thing that needs to happen. You drop down in drop ships, you pick your location on the map, and then fire yourself down. The looting, I don't know how the loot would work. You'd have to scrap the force field thing and just have like something like armor plating or something that you'd pick up.
Or you pick up shields that you can use.
Or the battle royale. All the battle royale isn't based on Spartans and it's based on ODSTs.
Could be.
Yeah, that could be.
That would make it more of a
Marines and ODSTs.
Yeah, a realistic battle royale as opposed to like trying to fight Spartans, which is just like it's just an easy thing to try to do because you're already a super soldier as it is. I think a Halo ODST battle royale mode would be a little bit more realistic, should we say?
Or this is training grounds for the best person here to become a Spartan.
Could
be. That's a good idea. Yeah. Yes.
Either the squad or last player is.
Yeah, last player standing gets a chance at going to be a Spartan. Yeah, that's a really good story in the league. I like it.
Good idea. I like that. But how do they?
Because that correlates as well. That correlates as well into the training mode that you've got in the game. Because if anybody hasn't played the training mode, go and do it because it's got a nice little story element to it.
How do they innovate on the battle royale genre, though? It's a tricky one to think about in the moment.
It is. It's very difficult to do it. And again, the one thing that they've got on their side is that the gunplays and the gameplay itself is phenomenal. So they don't have to tweak the gunplay and the gameplay. They just need to come up with how does this level work? What does the map look like? Like how are we going to do the armor and the weapons and the attachments and the loot and the healing and things like that? Because you're going to have to bring things in that haven't been in previous Halos because you've always had just auto regenerate. Like you just auto regenerate your health and you auto regenerate your shields. You haven't had to do that in previous Halos. So they'd have to bring in new mechanics for armor and healing and weapons and weapon attachments and things. So it's a little bit different.
I wonder if that's their way of bringing back the elites into the multiplayer as well. Because people have been championing bringing elites back for ages. Even me, myself. We haven't had elites in Halo since Halo 3, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
In multiplayer.
Yes.
So it could be. No, there was elites in Reach as well, wasn't there? There was, yeah. Reach
And
was the last one to have elites.
the only elites we got in Infinite were the bosses.
Playable elites. They could even bring playable brutes.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
But yeah, it would be. It would be. I think, like you say, though, they've got it has to stand out, but it is also. I can understand why it's so hard for different people, as long as it's not porn. You've got to go that. Yeah, exactly, Muppet. As long as it's not porn. But yeah, it's going to be difficult to do something different because the battle royale genre in itself is quite varied and already kind of fleshed out, as it were. There's a lot of different people doing a lot of different things.
I mean, the only way I could see them doing it is if they meld battle royale with firefight and having it be PvPvE.
Yeah, just like Warzone again.
Yeah, similar.
But
obviously with the big battle royale twist.
Yeah, and the map decreases.
Like Halo style Fall Guys. We're done with it.
Yeah.
Be totally different. Somewhat.
Yes. It would be and obviously the only thing they could put in there for vehicles wise initially would be because obviously you wouldn't put scorpions in because that would just be an unfair advantage to everybody involved. Or banshees or anything like that, or any form of flying. I would take that out as well initially. I wouldn't have any of the wasps or anything in there. That's pointless because it's a one-man thing. You would only have what is the warthog without the guns on? What's that called again?
The Razorback and the Mongoose they could put in there as well without guns.
Yeah, the Mongoose without guns and the Razorback. Put them in. Those would be the only vehicles really you'd include in that initially, and potentially you'd have the Pelicans drop off the loot crates or whatever it is every now and again, or
and your Spartan if you can, and your Spartan allies if you can bring them back.
Yeah. So there's a lot for them to think of. I think it's just trying to implement it into, like you say, a new and an ingenious way of doing things, and that's going to be hard. That's going to be the hardest part, most definitely.
I don't know how I'd see it happening, to be honest. It's so hard to think about when so many other companies have done battle royale. How does Halo do it better?
Yeah.
How do they evolve battle royale?
I don't know. I just wish they just didn't do it. Let the others like battle it out literally, and then you guys just do what you're doing, which is Halo. And that gameplay, like you said, the gameplay loop on that is great. Just
right now, and like I say, the only saving grace for this is that it isn't 343 allegedly directly doing this mode, which means that the internal developers are concentrating on the key and the core aspects of the game. So if that is the case, then fine. Let Certain Affinity do this game mode. Have fun.
I think it should be standalone from Infinite, something that separates itself, so it's not Halo Infinite multiplayer. So everyone doesn't go, "Oh, it's just Halo, another mode for Halo Infinite."
Yeah, I know what you mean. But then on the note of on their multiplayer though, I just want the core teams to start now getting new maps out, get new game modes sorted. That's the key thing that they need to work on right now. Like outside of even just the cheat stuff that they need to get the grips of and things like that. The maps. We're only a few months into it now, and it's the same maps over and over again. People are starting to already get tired of the same maps. The gameplay, like everyone's saying, you know what it is? The gameplay is really great. We love the gameplay, but there's only so much of the same stuff you can play.
I thought there was going to be 23 maps at launch.
Yeah, well, they said 23 maps, but they haven't got 23 maps ready. No,
yeah, there's not 23 maps in the loop.
Nope. So they need to get those out and running. But then, of course, a lot of that relies on Forge, and the people working in Forge to create that. So I think they need at least a couple more maps, maybe 3-4 more maps released by internal before Forge releases in a few months' time. to keep the player base going.
A couple
think
of
that's
maps
essential.
a month would be good.
Mhm. Or even one new map a month, and they put that into its own, like PUBG does, where you can select to just play that map if you want to. Or if you want to have everything in a loop, then you can choose to have it in rotation. Or if you want to just play the new map, then you can just play the new map. I think PUBG, what they usually do is they just put the new map on as a set thing. So you can play just the new map for the first few days, and then they just throw it into rotation. So it basically gets everyone used to the new map, and then says, right, okay, now it's part of rotation. Have fun. Now it'll turn up randomly.
Yeah, I've not really played much Halo multiplayer myself for a while.
You know what it is though, and it's not because I don't want to play Halo. It's for me this specifically why I haven't played much Halo recently. Is just the sheer amount of games that have been coming out, or dropping into Game Pass, or anything else in between. And of course, when you're a content creator like ourselves, or even just someone who really enjoys video games, having that sheer amount of games come out and wanting to try them all, you can't stick on the same thing forever. Like you can go back to it, and I will go back to Halo. There's no doubt about that. And I'll be going like I do with Sea of Thieves. Like I don't play that like some of the hardcore guys do, but every now and again I'll jump back into Sea of Thieves, have a couple of good days on it, and then that's me done for a while.
I think that's pretty much going to be me with Halo. As much as I love Halo, I'm kind of just tired of the multiplayer, and the only time I'm really going to be wanting to play it is when a bunch of friends are playing it, and I'm playing either custom games or with friends in just multiplayer. I don't feel like I just want to go on and play with randoms. It's not for me.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the only to be honest. That's the only time I really have fun is when we've created these mad custom matches and just had some ridiculous fun on like zero gravity.
The slow
or
ones were hilarious. Slow hammers.
Even the fast ones, like 400% speed, just like running around the place like Linford Christie, like woof, just gone.
That's why I'm like really excited for Forge to finally come to it, to see what people can do with that and game modes thrown into the mix.
Well, if you've got to think when Forge comes out, then you're going to have the ability to use the grapple hook infinitely. So you can use infinite grapple with swords or infinite grapple with hammers. And then just have fun, guys. Infinite grappling hammers. So you'd be zooming around the map like Spider-Man with a hammer.
I do think they need more modes in Halo's multiplayer. Infection being one of them. It's a huge mode that people love. It's so popular. So I need that in there as soon as possible.
100%. They've got attrition now.
Yeah.
They just, like you say, they need infection on there now as well. And King, I think one of the game modes, King, would be awesome as well, where it's like one person has to stay alive and then hold the king as long as you can. Bit like Oddball, but it's a sole survivor type of situation. Like like
MVP sort of thing.
Yeah, like you have to hold it for as long as you can, or you have to hold the crown for as long as you can without dying. Like a game mode like that is perfect for like top tier gamers specifically. Like someone who wants to like prove that they're the best. King's a really good game mode for that. It means you have to kill everybody and not die.
Yeah.
But speaking on this certain affinity, anyway, let's get to our next topic. So certain affinity aren't just working on this. On just rumored to be working on this battle royale mode, as originally hinted of by Jeff Grubb. And I do believe the guys from Xbox Era, Shepselnick and all the rest of those. Then it was followed up by Jez in an article on Windows Central. He confirmed Certain Affinity is working on an Xbox exclusive Monster Hunter-like game codenamed Project Swerte.
I think we lost Chris.
Oh, no, there he is. He's back again. Hello again, Chris. Wrong button. Oh, you're muted now.
Yep, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Okay. Back now.
Oops. Difficulties.
I'll do the same thing from like accidentally back out or something. But yeah, so a Monster Hunter type game by Certain Affinity in partnership with Xbox. So again, another second party partnership there.
That's good.
of course, this is in addition to another third-party game called Project Dragon from IO Interactive, As Dusk Falls from Interior Night, Contraband from Avalanche, and others. Of course, there's quite a few others where it's got Project in front of them. We've seen quite a lot of them recently, and I think we covered a lot of these unannounced projects and project names and things last week as well. We don't have a clue what half of them are.
Yeah, we went through that huge list of games that are in development.
Yeah. The one good thing about this though is that it gives us a good idea as to what they're going for with this game. A Monster Hunter-esque game specifically for Xbox. Now that's an intriguing thought. Have any of you guys ever played Monster Hunter or Monster Hunter World or any of them
have not.
before?
I've not played any of the Monster Hunter games.
Yeah, I played
Chris,
World for a bit.
You have. Yeah. How did you find it? It is definitely different.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I think I just got burnt out from it because it was like near the end, especially when you're like trying to get a particular gear set and all that. Like it just felt really grindy. But like it was fun, like just going after particular monsters, learning their attack patterns and stuff like that. But and I enjoyed it more when I got to play with others, which was like the biggest appeal for me. Just taking down a big monster with someone, but like you see people online doing like insane amount of damage on these guys. Like they'll like pop like 800 potions and like do some crazy combination to take this thing out in like 2 swings. You're like, how did you do that? How is that possible? It's like, but it was fun for the most part. And if Xbox came out with one, I'd definitely play it. If it's on Game Pass, I'm going to play it. So
yeah, definitely. And I mean, what the kind of news that they've got anyway, the information they've got so far is that it's been in development since the summer of 2020, likely slated for a 2023 reveal with a 2024 release. Although it could come sooner, depending on the dynamism and variables that often come with game development. Background on Certain Affinity, for anybody who isn't aware of them, has long been in close partnership with Microsoft. This is going off the Windows Central website, of course, working on various Halo titles from Halo 2 and Master Chief Collection to Halo Infinite. Some separate hints that Certain Affinity may also be working on the Halo Infinite Battle Royale. But yes, for me, with Monster Hunter, the issue I had with it was, and this is specifically with Monster Hunter because, of course, other studios will have different art styles and things like that. I did not think the art style or the graphical quality of that game was as good as it could be for a game like that. I think there was a lot more could have been done to it. I don't think it really pushed the boat out. I think it was very much... Naturally, of course, it was a game that released last generation, but it was a game that could have released on a Nintendo Switch. It could have released on a low-spec PC. It could have released on a 360. Like, it wasn't a graphical style or a hardware set that was demanding. It didn't look like it did much to push out the boat or the engine in any way, shape, or form. The game itself felt more like just fetch quests. Like, you have to catch this guy because your armor set requires it.
Right.
You have to go and get this guy because your armor set requires it. You have to go and get... Like, there wasn't, other than just the fact that you're getting armor sets every time. Like, I didn't quite get the benefit or point of the story. Like, was there an actual story going on in there?
The story itself, I was like, yeah, all right. Like, it was just incredibly cheesy. I was like, I'm not into that. But like the combat, I think felt pretty good overall. I just wish, and there is some damage, but like that you get like more, like if Xbox or Microsoft is doing something that is Monster Hunter style, like be a mix of that plus like what the hell's the name of that game? Shadow of the Colossus. Like get some giant monsters to fight too. Like
kaiju-sized monsters.
Yeah, like where you're like climbing on his back trying to find anything right there and all that stuff. Like that would be cool too. Be able to see that kind style of game added.
Do you remember Dragon's Dogma?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of the game, and they have a show too, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah,
But I
think
really
they're
enjoyed the Dragon's Dogma game.
I've heard good things about
Is,
that.
is Monster Hunter like that?
No.
Capcom too, right?
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma was Capcom as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know what it is. It's good. You need in Monster Hunter. You really need to very quickly find out what weapons you prefer to use. If you try and use heavy weapons, you are as slow as anything at just throwing that thing around because it's like the weapon has its full weight behind it. So if you've got a really big giant axe or anything like that, it's like a really slow swing and then a big thump when you hit it down. And naturally, like a lot of the time, because these monsters don't just stay and fight you. Like if it gets pissed off, it'll just run.
Yeah.
And you have to chase after it. You have to literally just go and chase this thing down and try and find it. And when you lose it, then you have to use your investigative abilities to try and say, where's he gone, and track his footsteps and footprints to his next location, and then fight him there, and again try and keep him in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be easier. I mean, I never played it with co-op, and it is co-op. And I think that probably might have been a little bit more fun because then again, you work together to bring it down, and you work together to go and hunt these things down. But as a solo game, it's not great. It doesn't hold up well. Doesn't hold up well.
I mean, unless you like that style of game, and you're and there's many people that do, but
oh god, yeah, it's such a popular franchise like that. There is certain, and I have to say this because again, we'll all like something that a lot of people won't like, but there is certain things that you look at it from the outside and you're like, how is this game so popular? But then you've got to think.
That's one of the reasons why I haven't played it, because that's what I say when I look at it.
But then you've got to think as well, though, like the Japanese and Chinese market love these type of things. Like anything to do with monsters or owning monsters or having monster pets and things like that. Hence, Pokemon, obviously, is one of the biggest franchise in gaming history. They are obsessed with stuff like that. And Monster Hunter, Pokemon, with its pocket monsters, anything monsters related, where you own them or fight them or whatever it is, just it's already guaranteed hit over there. I just hope, again, certain Affinity, if they've got good pedigree, they're good at it. I just hope that they don't go into the same tropes as Monster Hunter, but they also actually push the boat out when it comes to the graphical fidelity and the performance and just the overall look of the game and the feel of the game and the grandeur of it. Because you're fighting, a lot of the times in Monster Hunter World, you're fighting these huge bosses in tiny confined areas. It's semi-open world. You should have them in these massive open areas where they can jump up and fly around and things. The Witcher has a more grandiose skill with some of its big bosses than Monster Hunter does. You do a better Monster Hunter job in Witcher fighting the big monsters and the mythical creatures than you do in Monster Hunter World.
I was gonna say that the contracts in Witcher 3 were really fun. And finding those monsters, they do the same thing, right? You're doing the investigation, trying to track it, where it's going, what's its tendencies and stuff like that. So yeah, it's now you brought that up, I was like, yeah, actually Witcher was fun, more fun doing that.
Yeah.
I need to play The Witcher again and actually complete it.
And but the combat was also much better. Again, in Monster Hunter, you've got some really basic stuff, but if your weapons are wrong, or you feel like the weapons are wrong, that's it. You can't do anything about it until you get all of the items you need to craft another weapon set.
Yeah.
And then level that weapon set up again. It is a time-consuming game, and it needs.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the only thing about it. It's much like an MMO or anything like that. Like Monster Hunter may as well be an MMO because it is in terms of its requirement for time investment. It needs a lot of time put into it to get anything out of it. What would you? I mean, the likelihood again, both of you, all of us are going to try it because it'll go into Game Pass.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely. It'd be a try. Well, then again, I didn't try Monster Hunter when it was in Game Pass, so
Is Monster Hunter World not still in Game Pass?
I don't think so. I think it came out of Game Pass. I installed it and it came out of Game Pass around about the time I was going to play it, and I was like, "Oh, it's gone."
Ah, yeah.
Oh, well.
It's
I
like
mean,
that
it'll
South
probably be
Park
on.
meme, and it's gone.
I was going to say it'll probably be on sale now, but
Mm.
I probably if you don't like. Oh God, it's cheap.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's like £16.
Oh, that's not too bad. It's worth a try for 16 quid.
Yeah.
You get a lot of game for that much. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that much.
you do. You're right. I didn't think it would be that cheap. I was expecting maybe still £40 or something. No base game without the expansions, £16. With the Iceborne expansion, it's £32. And there's a lot of free stuff for that game as well.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look underneath for the add-ons. There's a lot of free add-ons, which is always good to see. Oh, well.
Gigantic game, but and
So
I
yeah,
think
if anybody,
there's a new game, Rise, that just came out. I think.
yes, Monster Hunter Rise, which is on PC and Xbox. Well, no, PC. Is it on Xbox yet? I don't think it is. Is it?
I think it's on Switch, isn't it?
Yes, that's the one. Is that not the one that's specifically for Switch and PC?
I think so.
I have no idea. I'm not all caught up to date in the old realm of Capcom, only when it comes to Resident Evil.
Yeah, no, this was a one. So Monster Hunter World was the one created for Xbox, PlayStation, etc. Monster Hunter Rise was created for the Switch because they didn't get World.
And then
Yeah.
PC just got the port. Is that what it
And
is?
they just got the port, yeah. I mean, it was a very good port, but it was just it's just a Nintendo version, just ported over. Again, much like all these these first party deals are now for certain games, like they want their game on their platform, but they'll have it on PC as well because that's not a competing platform. And Switch, let's have a look, just double check. I don't think World came out on Switch, did it?
No, definitely
No,
don't think so.
no, it didn't. No, they got Monster Hunter Stories 2, and then they got Monster Hunter Rise. So they didn't get World, which is good. So so this is essentially the makeup for the fact that they didn't get to play that one. Interesting. It depends on how this fleshes out, this game. It could be great. It could be terrible. I suspect it's not going to be terrible, but I think it could just be one of those games where you could take it or leave it. And unless you're really into these monster games, you probably just install it, have a play of it for about half an hour, and then uninstall it. I don't foresee it being everybody's cup of tea. But I think the key thing that we're seeing here, even just by this news specifically, is that Microsoft and Xbox are working on a varied genre of titles. Like, I'd never thought we'd see the news that Xbox have greenlit essentially an exclusive second-party deal for a Monster Hunter-esque game on the platform. Like, that's a different type of genre than what they've ever designed themselves.
I think this could be a move for Phil Spencer to show that they want more of these JRPG style games on console.
These Japanese-esque games, yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
So why not make them yourself at first and show people you're serious about it?
Yeah,
I
because
completely agree.
The Xbox, the Series S has been selling well in Japan. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Series S is doing really well in Japan. I've started to see a lot of them picking up Series X's as well now. For some reason, and I don't know why, but they are literally choosing, because I've seen a lot of posts as well in Japan where the websites are saying that the PS5's out of stock, the Series S is out of stock, and it's only the Series X that they've got left in stock. So the Series S is actually outselling the Series X in Japan, even though the Series X is there and available in a lot of these stores, which is really strange to see.
I saw on Twitter this morning someone in Japan had gone into a store to buy a PlayStation 5 and they didn't have one, so he walked out of a Series X.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them do. They just want the next gen console, and if yours isn't available, I'm going to get the next.
And Game Pass is very appealing.
Specifically in Japan, a lot of them don't like. They just get it because it's with it, and then they start playing it with Game Pass, and they're like, "Whoa, this game!" Like a lot of the posts are like, "I'm really surprised by the amount of stuff that's in Game Pass." Specifically, the fact that I don't know if people are aware, Game Pass itself is regional. So what we get in Game Pass UK, Game Pass US isn't the same as what the Asian players get. Like they'll still get the big releases like we do, but they'll get specific Japanese titles in there as well sometimes that are catered to their market that'll drop in. So instead of getting like a lot of the Western indie titles that fall in there, we'll get a lot of these Japanese indie titles falling into Game Pass over there. So the breadth of their marketplace is entirely different than ours as well. And they're getting their market catered for.
So if you've got a VPN and you've got Game Pass on PC,
yeah.
Well, you got to change your region.
Just change your region on your Xbox.
Yeah,
go into that.
Well, you can
Japanese
do that,
marketplace. Yeah. The thing is, they don't even frown upon it. Like this is what I loved about the whole everyone that was kicking off when everyone switched to New Zealand for was it Halo? It was Halo, wasn't it?
Forza, right?
Forza Horizon.
That's the one.
Halo
you can't do that. It's against the terms. And even
release.
Xbox started joking about it. Xbox were like, "All right, is everyone enjoying their holidays to New Zealand today?" Like everyone was like, "Oh, it's against the terms." I'm like,
everyone wanted to do that with Halo.
Yeah,
but you couldn't.
If Xbox themselves are joking about the fact that everyone's changed their location to play the game, I'm sure they don't care. Like they just want people to play the game at the end of the day. They don't care if you've just changed your region to play it 6 hours.
They're making the most of their Game Pass.
Exactly. And it just shows the anticipation for a game if everybody is online and changing regions just to play that game 6 hours early.
Just to play it like 9 or 6 hours early, yeah.
Yeah. And more to them, power to them, let them. Like I say, you can still download the games, you can play the games. You just, in certain like Japanese ones, you have to be in the Japanese region to play it once you've installed it. So the only thing is of course, once you've installed it, you play it whilst you're on the Japanese section. When you go back to your other account, you can't play that game. Fine. Just have to get used to it. But yeah, I think the key thing for me to take away from this is the fact that Xbox are clearly like bolting down on this whole, we're just going to get as many different genres and different types of game into the system and ecosystem and Game Pass as we possibly can. And having the Monster Hunter games just kind of increasing that even further. Looking forward to seeing how it turns out.
It's going to be interesting to see what it pans out to be.
It is, to go along with every other IP that they're announcing.
That's what I love about Game Pass. It's diverse. So many different types of games on there.
Yep. Speaking of Game Pass and IPs, EA and Respawn are making the new Star Wars games. I suspect Disney, after seeing the massive success of Jedi Fallen Order, showing them that you don't need microtransactions and single players work, EA possibly going to them as well, this is the only Star Wars game you've made that's actually been good. Disney probably went to EA. You get Respawn working on these games or you don't get the IP.
And the good thing is they're not going to ruin another Star Wars Battlefront game because they're not working on one.
Right.
Yay! So the news, of course, that we've got from this is EA and Respawn are making a Star Wars strategy game, an FPS, and Jedi Order 2. Obviously, the biggest news to come out of this for us and what everybody wanted to see was the Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Didn't Jeff Grubb say that could be coming out this year?
If it does, that would be absolutely phenomenal, and I would love it. But please, if it isn't ready, EA...
At least let me beat the first one first.
Specifically to EA at this point, if you're watching, anybody from EA. If it isn't ready, don't release it. Please.
Yes, don't release it. Let me complete the first one.
Because the first, if you haven't, oh God, how far are you into the first one?
I think I'm just about to leave the first world you go to after the whole opening section. Or I have left it. So yeah, I got a while to go. So EA, wait
You need
for
to-
me, just me
you need to-
personally.
You need to play that game. Like, it's such
Yeah.
a good game. The
I'm
story
enjoying
only
it.
gets the story just keeps getting better though, because you start to come against like you fight the sisters
Yeah.
and things like that.
I've seen
Um,
spoilers for the game anyway. I know what happens at the end, but what I've played so far is pretty good.
It's exactly what a Star Wars Jedi game should have been. Like all along, when they got that IP, that is what they should have started with, not Battlefront, not some open world shooter. And then the Jedi's and things become just special unlocks that you get every now and again that just drop into a battlefield and then die and then miraculously pop up again 10 minutes later with somebody else.
I'd like to see the same type of game from the Sith perspective.
That's a good idea. Like a dark side. It's like a Sith, not a Sith,
Mhm.
Rise of the Sith or something like that.
Yep.
there
Jedi
was a
Fallen
game-
Order, something to do with Rise of the Sith or something like that.
Yeah, there was a game that you got to choose dark or light. Oh, what was it? Force Unleashed, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, the Connect game.
How was the Connect game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
It's
what's his
just-
name? The guy who
There's no wonder why
voices-
Xbox didn't get the Star Wars IP back after that.
The best game they made
oh
was the one where
my
you...
god.
The best one they made was the Star Wars game where Han Solo was dancing. It's the best Star Wars game ever.
What was that?
That was a Kinect game too, right? It was like
Yeah.
a dance bits in it.
Yes, yeah. I think I remember that actually. Yeah.
Han Solo dancing. What were they thinking?
Sith Rise of Rome. Is that the one?
Sith Rise of the Dance Floor.
Sith Boogie Nights. But no, it's great to see that they're actually paying it. But I suspect Disney would have said, "Listen, the only time you've had this IP, and the only thing that's actually worked and done well, has been Jedi Fallen Order. So keep it with Respawn. Let them do things because they clearly know what to do with this IP. Have fun. Like, this is a Respawn project, so give it to Respawn. I think that would have been part of the deal. They've done well. They've actually respected the IP. They've created something new. The game's succeeded. It's beloved. It isn't filled with microtransactions and shady business. So keep it that way, or lose the IP.
Have you been watching the Boba Fett TV series?
I haven't. No.
There was a Fallen Order Easter egg in that.
Was there?
Someone's letting off fireworks.
Okay.
They got excited about Boba Fett. I don't know.
Yeah. They heard Boba Fett. They're like, woohoo!
But yeah, there's a Easter egg for Fallen Order in that. It's the little droid thing. BD1, is it?
Okay.
Yeah, that little droid is in it. I don't know if it's supposed to be the same droid or not, but it was.
But it was in there.
Yeah, heavily hinted. So who knows? Maybe they're gonna put that guy in one of the shows.
You know what it is? It's go on.
Fallen Order takes place right after Order 66, which is episode 2.
Yeah. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot they can do with this, with Fallen Order and the Jedi Fallen Order kind of IP, as it were. There's so much lore they can express. They can go different places. The only thing that I want them to change, from the first one, is the map variants. The planet variants needs to change. The going back and forwards was one of the only gripes I had with the first game. Just kind of re-going through over the same levels over and over again, like, or revisiting the same planets. I'm like, right, okay, well, if I'm going to go to the same planets, at least give us a different location on that planet to go to. That was my only gripe from that. Secondary gripe was, if I'm a Jedi, let's dress like a Jedi, not just some guy in a rain mac.
Like a poncho.
Just a poncho, and then give you different color.
Give me a Mandalorian game. That's a perfect game for a poncho.
Yeah. No, but to be fair, Dutch, he was like rejecting the whole Jedi thing. So he was like, I'd rather wear a poncho instead of
Poncho.
I mean, but even still, I mean, even just allow us to dress like semi-normally, even not Jedi, but just without a poncho.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
It seems like there's not as much
He gets
customization
very
options.
cold. He gets very cold. That's so
But I mean, just give us the thing that I'm asking for is just give us a bit more customization when it comes to how that character looks and the clothing he wears and things like. Even if the storyline says he doesn't want to dress like a Jedi, well, I want him to dress like a Jedi. So, and it's me that's playing the game, so let's dress him like a fucking Jedi. God damn it! I can have a multicolored sword, but I can't dress how I want to.
Right.
That doesn't
You can
make
have a red
sense.
lightsaber in it, can't you? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did like that though. That was one of the best things of that game was the fact that you can build the sword that you want to use, and you can change the custom handles, and you can change how like the detailing on the sword and the color of the saber. You can have double sided. You can just have one long
fireworks
one.
again.
That's the one thing I loved about that game was the customizing of the sword, and it made you feel like it was your own as well. Because when you customized it, put it out, like I've never seen somebody with the same kind of changes that I'd made to mine in the color schemes and things I went for. And I just wanted to see kind of that kind of thing expanded. But just going into clothing. So yeah, of course you can have your sabers, but of course we know in Star Wars, in the universe of Star Wars, even the swords were completely different. So you wouldn't always just have straight swords. You'd have like boomerang like style swords. You'd have like littler swords. You'd have like axes. You'd have random stuff. So go wild, have fun with it. Just let people create these wild sabers and dress how they want to from the Star Wars universe. If they want to dress more like the Sith, let them dress more like the Sith. If you want to dress them like a Jedi, let them do that.
I would like them to do a little bit more, like I don't know, maybe struggles with the Force between the dark and the light.
That's what I was just about to say. That's what I was just about to say. Have those struggles because we know that any Jedi throughout any of the Star Wars have been kind of tried to be pulled towards the dark side at some way, shape, or form. And even the films that people hated, which with the latter ones like Rise of Skywalker and things like that, that recently come out, you even see Mark Hamill explain that he had those same issues himself. Like he had the pull of the dark side, and he had to fight that off. Rey had the same thing. Of course, we know Anakin obviously turned into Vader, and we all obviously know. I've forgotten his name. Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, of course, notoriously was dark side. He didn't want to be dark side near the end, but he was dark side, and he tried to end up redeeming himself in some way, shape, or form near the end of the last film. But that's the kind of struggles you want in a Star Wars game. Like have these things where you kind of you end up kind of having these deep conversations and they try to turn you, and you've got to make those definitive choices on what you want to do. I mean, it's of course we're all thinking this, but it's putting these into practice is going to be the hard part for the developers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see from it, Chris? What would you like to see ideally from after playing the first one? How would you like to see it progress? Yeah.
I don't want to fight a toad again because that thing took me forever to beat.
Yeah.
That freaking toad took me forever to beat. And
I think I know what one you're talking about right near the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Evil. I think you saw me fighting
know
that when I
the
was
one
streaming it.
The one thing I wanted to fight was the thing that you couldn't fight, and that was that giant lizard thing that's in the background on that level. Like in the distance on the other platform, there's like this like giant lizard that's like lying
Oh
down.
yeah, I remember that. Looks
I
like
want
the
to
thing
fight
from
him.
the Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, just let us fight that. I don't care if I'm going to get my arse kicked. Just let us fight it. Like, don't put things in there that look really intriguing that you think, oh, let's have a fight to him, and then you go over, you realize you can't actually get there. You're like, oh, so just let us go there. Let's go there. Let us fight it. Even if I get my arse kicked, let's show how good of a Jedi I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, what would you like to see from it? What would you like to see from the next one?
I would like. I mean, the boss fights were all good. Even the Toad one was like enjoyable to a point. I don't know. Like it was a fun game overall. I think I agree with you that I think the having some variety in the worlds, maybe some more from a story point, like you're saying with the dark and light, like I guess have a better conversation system. Like maybe add a conversation. I don't know, where you can see your character either lean like dark or light in terms of that.
Bit like Mass Effect, where you got like the
Right.
renegades and all that.
Right.
Renegade options.
So something like that would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I think overall the game was fine. I appreciated the linearity of it too. I mean, because if it gets more open world, I'm like, all right, then I have to like, I have my task list I have to do and all this other stuff. It's just
I like the linearity of it. I just want new
Yeah.
locations,
Yeah.
or varying locations.
yeah.
Even
the
if that
platforming, I think,
linearity
could be
is
better too. Maybe
Yes.
better platforming.
Yeah,
Because I think they
even
did a
if that
great job.
linearity is a little bit on a broader scale map,
Mhm.
like a longer map or a little bit more to it. And I agree. The parkour needs to be better, and obviously be
Yeah.
able to use some of your force, like
Right.
some of your force tricks and things like that, because you can
Could-
do your double jumps and things, but like force tricks allow you to do quite a lot. Like you
Was
do
there
these
combat in that
long
game
distance jumps.
when you did parkour stuff? Was there any combat like while you were scaling
Not
walls and
mid.
stuff?
No, it
That
wasn't.
could be something they could do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Or bouncing off walls into attacks,
Hmm.
like diving attacks and things like that.
Like I
Yeah.
mean, they did a great job with Titanfall too, right? Like with
Yes.
that story mode and like doing the parkour ish stuff while while there's combat. Like that one, oh my god, that one level where you're like jumping in between world or time periods.
Oh,
Like,
that was so good in
amazing.
Titanfall.
That was so good. Like if they could
Right,
do
I want
something
to. I want to just put a pause on this now to give Vinny a timeout. Vinny, time. Monster Hunter game is not scalebound. Scalebound is dead.
I
I'm
think
sorry
it could
to tell you
possibly
this.
fill that void though for people that want Scalebound. So
right.
it won't be that exact game, obviously, but
Yeah.
it'll be something that people can go, oh, finally, there's this type of game on Xbox that I've been waiting for.
Yes, I agree. It's gonna fill that void. It is a bit different. Obviously, the Monster Hunter IP is very different, as we know, compared to what we've seen from Scalebound. Vin. Monster Hunter is definitely not what Scalebound was. Scalebound was essentially like a big open world Devil May Cry, but you had a dragon that also fought beside you. Or you flew on and did attacks. Monster Hunter, it is you go track down animals, you kill the animals, you pick up their stuff, and you make weapons, and that's it. Like there is nothing else to it.
Repeat. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't Scalebound have like an iPod shuffle in that game as well?
I think it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah, headphones, dubstep, lots of dubstep. That's how long ago that was. Scalebound was that long ago. Dubstep was still popular.
Dubstep was popular.
Yeah, it was. It's back when Skrillex was still a thing.
It sounds
But
like some
yes.
sort of washing up liquid.
I know, doesn't it? A detergent.
Yeah.
Skrillex to get through the dirtiest of mud.
Skrillex and the dirt is gone.
But yeah, Chris, sorry to interrupt you there, but yeah, what else would you like to see? I know you said
I
obviously
think there's that's all I can think of right now for a Star Wars game.
where would you like to see the story go? After, I mean, we've obviously Jen, you've watched the ending, you know what the end is.
Yeah, I know
but
pretty much what happens in the story. I'd
Yeah.
like to see well, if anyone in the chat hasn't seen it, spoiler alert, you might want to cover your ears a minute. But I'd like to see more Darth Vader in the sequel.
yes.
That's true. Yeah, he was there, right? Yeah.
Maybe he's hunting you across the galaxy and he just shows up in terrifying, jump scary like moments.
Like Alien Isolation or something
Yeah.
like that. Where he just
Like a
pops up
Jason
and
Voorhees type
you know what-
character. He's just
you know what was
relentlessly
really-
coming after you.
The really good thing about the way he was introduced was it was more of a like, oh shit moment as well.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing it and I was like, oh shit, Darth Vader's in this game.
Yeah, he just straight through the
I
door.
wasn't
you're like,
expecting it.
"Uh-oh."
I was just watching someone play it on Twitch. and I just didn't expect it. I was like, oh shit, it's Darth Vader. He's in this game.
Yeah, you don't win. Like you don't win.
If you can win that, then it's like that is like defeats everything in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's so well done. But again, there's that many Sith Lords and things that they could introduce into the game, like so many Sith Lords, even ones that have never been in any of the big films, but have been in the comics. Like they could bring a lot of the Sith Lords from the comics into the game, and some of them were like brutal. Some of them were way more powerful than Darth Vader. Specifically in the comics, like he wasn't anywhere close to being one of the most powerful. It's far more powerful Sith Lords in the Star Wars universe than Vader. But there's so much that can go with, like, and that's the beauty of a franchise like Star Wars, is that it has already got the lore there that isn't particularly being used by anything else. So if it hasn't been used in a film, and it hasn't been used in games, it's only ever been used in books and comics. Sometimes you've used in the animated series, of course, you've got a lot of the animated, like the Clone Wars series and things that they had on years ago.
Such a good show. Such a good show. A lot of people say it's a kid's cartoon, but it is not a kid's cartoon.
Oh no,
It's got some very adult themes in that cartoon.
Yeah, definitely. But there's a lot more that you can actually do with it as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing extras from it.
I think Clone Wars also makes the prequel movies so much better once you've watched it.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate those prequel movies so much more now because the Clone Wars, the way it ties everything together in those last few episodes is perfect.
Yeah, because like Tom's a huge Star Wars nerd or whatever you want to call it. But he the way he says it is like this. The movies just give you the framework, and then it's like everything else fills in all the holes and stuff like that that you have issues with. Like, which is why, like, when the prequels first came out, everyone's like, "This is terrible." But then, to your point, with like Clone Wars and everything that came in to like fill in all the stuff that didn't make sense, you're like, "Oh, okay, it's much better."
100%. And even Mr. Chivalry in chat there, he's saying Rebels, the other animated show, is even better than Clone Wars.
I haven't watched that. It's on my list.
That.
I need to watch Bad Batch as well. I watched the first couple of episodes of that, and then I fell behind. But that was pretty good. That continued the story from Clone Wars.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, this isn't just, we're not even talking one game on this announcement either. There's 3 games coming out. We'll touch on the other one that makes more sense to us. Of course, there's a lot of RTS players, but I think first-person shooters is very different. FPS, ideally, you want to see them working on a Mandalorian.
I think I prefer the Mandalorian as a third-person shooter. I'd like to see them tackle a sequel to Republic Commando.
Yeah.
Or a reboot.
Yeah.
Because that was a really good first-person game.
God, who's the developer? Massive doing that Bounty Hunters game. I think it's like a Division-style Star Wars game.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So that might fill your third person ideology around. But yeah, first person.
I just think if I think of a Mandalorian game, I want to see that armor at all times, not
the good thing about
being first person.
The good thing about the FPS game, however, unlike the Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is being directed again by Stig Asmussen, who directed God of War 3 and the previous Jedi Fallen Order. So unlike that one, the first-person shooter is a collaboration between Respawn and Lucasfilm Games. So that's Lucasfilm actually coming back into development here for a change and working on a Star Wars game themselves with Respawn.
What if it's Titanfall style, where you can get in like the AT-ATs?
But more like a stormtrooper that can shoot straight.
Could be like a commando trooper or something like that.
Unrealistic, and I completely go against it.
No, that's just part of the game. The game, your hand's always shaking. So
yeah. Just him. The most frustrating first-person shooter ever. Half the battle is just trying to get it on target. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see that they're coming back into it. And obviously, Lucasfilm Games working with Respawn to do an FPS in the Star Wars galaxy. Very interesting. And the game is focused on narrative other than over multiplayer.
Good.
That's directly from Lucasfilm and Respawn. So that's 2 games that are focused on single player. Jesus wept. We've never seen the day.
Cool.
But to everyone's
EA,
dismay,
are
it's
you,
not Titanfall.
you good, EA?
This is because Respawn are doing it. You see, that's what I'm telling you about Disney. Disney have went, EA, no. No. Respawn are dealing with this. Nobody else. And that's that. End of. Not having this discussion anymore, EA. You're not doing Battlefront.
I think someone needs to take EA's temperature, see how they're doing.
Yeah. I know, you're telling me. And last but not least, an RTS game is being also created in the Star Wars universe. So the strategy game is in co-production with a new studio called Bit Reactor, which is headed by Greg and I'm going to butcher this name, Forsch.
Please be a Clone Wars game.
Who worked on the design of Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri as an artist of many other Firaxis titles, including XCOM. So he's worked on XCOM before, and Alpha Centauri. So I strongly suggest that whatever the game is, it's turn-based. So it's turn-based RTS, which sounds great. So more along the lines of a Gears Tactics type RTS. So I think people are going to be a lot more easy to get into it than, for instance, an Age of Empires.
That could be cool.
Which is PC focused. Obviously, a lot of the time it's PC focused because it's very fast paced. You need to do things quickly. Whereas a Gears Tactics one, you've got the time to think about things. You can decide where you want to put your troops, and a bit like XCOM. I need to move him over here, but I need to be careful of what he's going to do next over here, and so it could be interesting.
I mean, Bad Batch. You could do.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
just about to say it. Sounds like a Bad Batch game to me.
Yeah. It says, although the language is ambiguous, is used ambiguous, EA seems to imply that this is a result of extending their license deal with Lucasfilm Games, although there's no mention of for how long. Quite a turnaround from the dark days of Battlefront 2. And there was talk of EA losing it altogether. Well, I think if they continued outside of Jedi Fallen Order, and that wasn't a success, it would have completely lost them, the license entirely. I think Jedi Fallen Order saved EA that license, and they need to be damn thankful to Respawn for actually pulling that out and doing such a great job. It wasn't like everyone's nigh on Game of the Year for a reason. Like, that game was that good, specifically for an actual Jedi game, an actual Star Wars game that did justice to the Star Wars IP. Yeah, it's awesome to see. But yeah, I just want to see EA keep their hands off it, let Respawn get on with it, do what they need to do, expand on the universe a little bit more customizability in these games, introduce new things, a little bit bigger levels, more variance in locations. Like, we've got no desert locations in Jedi Fallen Order 1. We've got none. And yet, a lot of the time in a lot of these Star Wars games, it's always based around like Tatooine-like levels where it's all like sandy and horrible, and like there was nothing like that in this one. So they could explore all these new locations and just have a little bit more variance. But yes, indeed. I know Mr. Chris here is going to jump out in a second. So before he reaches that elusive time, I'm going to do his awesome outro. So we can you can obviously go and tune into him. Anybody who's watching this either beforehand or right now or after the fact, you can find Chris's details underneath in the description as well. All links to his shows, including YouTube and all of the radio formats, the musical formats of that show, or down below, musical. Yeah, he's going to do a musical, a stage presentation of it as well. Every format of that show is available down below if you want to go and find it, including his Twitter handle. But yes, Chris, if you want to let people know where they can find you, of course, and what your show is about, so these awesome people can go and follow it and enjoy.
For a little link in the old chat there for quick access.
Yes. Well,
Definitely.
thank you guys so much. This was awesome. Getting to
It's been a
chat
blast,
with you guys again. This, as always, is my show is called 1 Hour 1 Decision. I take a random game on a Game Pass and play for an hour, and then I decide if I want to keep playing it or not. Well, myself and my co-host Tom, we discuss it on our weekly podcast. We drop our episodes every Wednesday, and yeah, that's what we've been doing it for.
You're at 75 subscribers now, so if you're not subscribed, chat, get subscribing.
Jump in, get him up to that 100 mark. Come on.
Awesome.
So he can have his official handle. You can get his custom link now. That's all we need.
Yeah, right.
We need 100 so he can get his custom link.
One day it'll happen. But yeah, this has been fun. It's been awesome, and you guys are awesome with all your great content as well. So
thank you very much, mate. It's been a blast.
It has been a blast. It's great to have you on, and of course, like I say, we just want to make sure you get up the heights of everybody else and get you 100 to start off with. Once you've got that initial 100, then it becomes a little bit easier after that. Things start to then it does. I mean, we've seen that quite a few times. You've seen that with even Pong Soul and Live and Split Screen. They were struggling to get 400. They've now like way over 450. Again, the same as like even the other day, Gamers Watch was struggling to hit that 300 mark, and now they're well over 300 again. Like they had been sitting
video
on.
They did was so good that the Series X fridge was brilliant.
But it's the same. Like we had the same struggles getting to that first 100 mark. It was really difficult, and then after that, it went well until maybe 700-800-ish, and then it slowed down, and then the struggle was then getting from that to 1,000. So you're going to get these struggle points throughout. The first 100's the hard part. After the first 100, it starts to go a bit steadier, and then it slows down again closer to 1,000. So you'll be all right. It just takes a bit of
Right.
it's these initial teething bits are difficult. They are difficult. But you'll get there. And again, everybody, if you haven't already, please, General C's drop the link up in chat there. Go and follow him. The links are also down below. Make sure to follow him now as well. If you much prefer listening on Spotify, he's got those links. Apple Music, they've got those links. You can find it anywhere. They are part of the QTB network as well. So of course you can find them over on QTB. So enjoy, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure, brother.
You did a better outro than me, so. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks again. I will be signing out now. So thank you everyone in the chat as well.
You're welcome.
So,
Thank you very
take
much.
care.
See you later. There we go back to 2. Hey, it's a good job I've got these overlays, isn't it? Oh, guys, right. Is there any news we've missed out on? Is there anything?
Yes.
Yes.
Remedy Entertainment. They're working on a new IP. They put a post out saying they're hiring for a project called Project Vanguard.
Yes.
I
remember you telling me about this because I didn't see it, but you did.
Yeah, I grabbed that and I threw that in one of my throwaway Discord accounts I've got that I've not used for a long time.
Was there any idea underneath as to what the IP was about in the description for the hiring section?
I'll go to the link now. Introducing Vanguard. Vanguard is a tight-knit and fast-moving team of seasoned developers. I think it's a studio, a sub-studio maybe, and
so Vanguard is a studio, so like a sub-studio.
Yeah, it's like
within
team
Remedy.
of developers, yeah. I thought it was a game.
But that could end up being into a new title, though.
It could be. They could be working on something.
But very interesting. Very interesting. Is there anything else that we've missed out on? Anything? Are we good? Have we
trying
caught?
to think
Have
now.
we really caught up with all the news?
Oh, there was the old Gears of War Fable collection thing.
Ah, yes, right. Yeah, because I've had this discussion with Jezebel and all those this week, but we haven't had
Yeah.
it with you. If it was a toss up between the two, and your answer, toss up between the two. If you had to choose between a Gears Marcus Phoenix collection or a Fable remaster collection before Fable comes out, what would you choose? It's not that easy, is it?
That's hard. It's a hard choice because
Mr. Joanna Dark straight in there with both.
I've not played too much Fable, but they are fun games, and I've
Vin wants
played
Gears.
so much Gears.
Yeah.
So I could do with a little something different, but at the same time, I'd love to play the entire Gears collection on PC in all of its glory.
Yes, that's understandable.
I think I'd have to choose Gears.
I mean, I can see, what it is. I would say both, but I would say initially because Gears 6 is a way out. I would say initially use this time to get a Fable remastered collection before Fable comes out, so that older players or people that haven't, newer players can play the old games. We know newer players aren't going to play older games. You know what they're like. They don't really dive into these old 360 games or Xbox One games for that matter. So revamping that and bringing the Gears collection to a new audience before the new Fable comes out very shortly, that makes a bit more sense initially. I think then bringing out a Marcus Phoenix collection closer to the time for Gear 6's launch makes sense then, because it's more like an advertisement bump for both of these. You think, like, go back and play the originals, and then the new one's coming out, like more of a teaser. And then same for Gear 6, they could essentially redo the Gears trilogy on Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah, I'd say I just love Gears so much, but because Fable is the older franchise, I'd say give it the treatment.
Yeah, it is much like I say, and we've had the first game in the Marcus Phoenix collection given the treatment. 2 and 3 haven't. But then we also have had more recent games in 4 and 5, which is why I'm saying they've had games where newer players can play them and know what Gears is.
Yeah.
Yes, they can reintroduce them back to the original trilogy, but they've had games recently, whereas Fable hasn't had a game in like a decade.
Either one, I'd be happy with. But if I was to choose, I'd say just go with Fable. Go with Fable. It seems to be what a lot of people want as well, anyway. So,
yes, indeed. I would do. You know what it is? I just want to see, because even if they're able to do the Fable remastered collection on the Forza Tech engine, so we can see what that game looks like in Forza Tech, that would be insane.
When I think about it, though, like the Gears games, they hold up well. Do they need it?
When they've had FPS boosts, they've had 4K super 4K boosts, auto 4K or whatever it is. They've had auto HDR.
If they could do PC ports onto the PC version of Game Pass for all of the Gears games, instead of worrying about a Marcus Phoenix collection or a Phoenix collection or whatever they'll call it, then I'd say opt to do that instead and do a proper Fable collection and give it the love and treatment it probably needs, because it's slightly older, the first and second games, and they are a bit janky now when you play them.
Yeah.
So give them the love and desire that they need.
Yeah.
Which allows people to sort of get into Fable before the reboot, to get an understanding of what the whole world is around Fable. And gives me another chance to actually play it properly. Because what I did play of Fable when I was younger, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun game.
Yeah, I love Fable, but trying to go back and play it now is pretty difficult, to say the least. It is pretty janky. Even with the 4K that they've added to it and auto HDR and things, it's still
Yeah,
in terms of mechanically, it doesn't feel up to date. And I said this when I first started playing The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation. Like, the game itself is a great game, but the fact that I jumped into it later than like years after it came out, and after newer games on like similar engines and things had come out, and even after the new one, Last of Us Part 2 had come out, if you try to play Last of Us Part 2 and then try to go back and play Last of Us Part 1, it feels janky as hell.
Yeah,
like,
the
so bad.
first one is janky, and I can see why they're remaking it when I think about it.
Yeah.
As much as it's a decent looking game, some of the gameplay aspects does need tweaking for the first Last of Us.
Yeah, the one thing I don't want them to do though is just get into a loop of just remastering the game like 45 times, like they have for The Last of Us.
Yeah,
Like,
every time there's a new console generation, it's remasters.
And you get it into the new engine from The Last of Us 2, where it feels good and it doesn't feel janky anymore, and kind of brings it up to date mechanically, and then just leave it. Like, don't just keep like don't bring out another collection in like 5 years' time and like make it the Last of Us collection when the new one comes out, and don't do that. Like, just leave it. Just have the 3 titles. Have your next gen update for the remastered version of the remastered, upscaled remastered version of Last of Us 1. And then and then just have The Last of Us 2, which is already decent.
Yeah.
That's it.
Last of Us 2 gameplay wise is amazing. It's a solid game.
Yeah, 100%. Completely agree. I mean, it is shout out Lost Forever. Yes, give me that now, please. Thank you.
Guitar Hero Collection.
Yeah, give that the treatment. You're right, 100%. Give that the treatment. Bring back Guitar Hero.
It does need to come back in a way. And when Xbox own it, maybe they can do some changes with it. Bring in some soundtracks from Xbox IPs and let you play some of them. There's plenty of Halo songs out there that would be perfect for a Guitar Hero game.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Be absolutely awesome. I don't think there is any other news left to catch up on from this week.
No,
Again,
I'm just scrolling through the old Twitter to see. Dying Light is coming out next week, right?
It is. I actually cancelled my pre-order for that.
I haven't pre-ordered it, and
I don't. You know what it is? The main reason I cancelled my pre-order for that was sheerly because I do not have the time to invest in that game. They have made it abundantly clear that game has 500 hours worth of content, and to finish the game with, and I've heard people speaking about it that are reviewing it, and the 20 hours thing that they said is complete nonsense, that you can't play that game and finish it in 20 hours and have the story make sense. From what I've heard, the first level specifically has a lot to it. There's a lot of things that interlink. A lot of these side quests interlink with the main story, so you feel the need to do them. So really, some of these side quests are pretty important to do alongside this.
Yeah, I think I'm just over the whole zombie genre at the moment. There's been so many oversaturated games in the zombie genre, and I'm just sort of tired of it now. That genre needs to go to bed for a long time.
Yeah, I completely agree. It does. It needs to get put to bed for a long time. I mean, we've got State of Decay 3 coming out. I do want to see what they're doing and how they do it, because it's a different type of zombie survival game. That's like you build a settlement and you have to maintain your settlement. You have to try and kind of fend off things, mainly because so you can actually survive. It's an actual horror zombie survival game. It's not like
other zombie games even try anything different these days. It's rinse and repeat. And that's probably one of the only zombie games I would play, because you can actually build settlements and all that. So
yeah. So
there is another thing for any Evil Dead fans out there. The game was delayed to May 2022, apparently.
Good, because that was coming out next month.
It was? I totally forgot about that.
It was, yeah. Evil Dead was meant to be coming out in February. They made the smartest possible decision on not launching in the busiest window of game releases this year and delayed it. I don't care whether or not that's to polish or anything else. I think the only way you're going to be able to stand up on your own 2 feet and get any sales for your game, unfortunately, in a February, is to move your game out of February. Because unless you're Elden Ring or Horizon Forbidden West, it's going to get overlooked by both the media and anybody else and the general public. No one will know that game's coming out.
Not too far away either. It's only May.
Yeah.
So,
but it's unfortunate the way it happens. You just don't release your games when big games like that are coming out that are going to get a lot of publicity.
May is jam packed as well with games that were delayed. So, not May, February.
Yeah.
I'm losing it.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the news. Can't find any stories that are big or smallish worth covering.
Nope, neither can I. There's not thankfully we've covered them all. I say I would love to have gone a little bit more deep dived into the Halo trailer, and what that was about and how good it looks and things like that. But I think we'll do that next week. I think we'll get a few of the trailers all together. I'll put a little video together, and we'll have that on screen and deep dive and talk a little bit more about what we've seen for the Halo trailer and what we expect from the series going forward and things like that.
I think the only other Halo news was that it reached 20 million players.
Did 20? Was it 20 million or was it more? 20. It was 20 million.
20 million, yeah.
Horizon 5, 18 million.
Yeah, 18.
For just a niche car racing game, eh?
That's the only other news I can think of, really, is that. And that was, just came into my head then.
Yeah, I was going to say we don't. I don't want to cover off the financial aspects of it. That's not important to us. As gamers, that makes no difference. As all that tells you is that Xbox and Microsoft are on the up and they're doing well. Great news for the company. For us, it doesn't make much difference because we know Xbox and Microsoft have already just recently invested a significant amount of money into that particular sector. So.
It's good to see those numbers from Halo again, 20 million players. That's impressive.
100%.
Gives me good hope for the future of Halo.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I cannot wait. I can't wait to see what the series is, and we'll do a deep dive into that when the trailer releases later on.
I'll be watching that trailer like 5 million times. I'm sure of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. But yes, that will just about wrap it up for this week. For anybody else who's watching us now, and you want to go and support our other brother, of course, Box and Burger, straight after the show. Obviously, he's currently, unless you're already multitasking and watching both, he's currently sitting on the Iron Lords on his debut. So, of course, straight from here, jump over and watch the Iron Lords. Show Box and Burger your support. He's making his debut over there. Hope everybody has an awesome evening. Joshua James, if you've been here the entire day, brilliant. If you've only just joined us, unfortunately, this is the tail end, but you can watch us back afterwards. But thank you for joining us either way. But for everybody else, of course, we will just jump into our outros now. First and foremost, my co-host, of course, as always, the General C, the Sheriff himself. Let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
You can find me on YouTube, the General C. I will be back to making content in roughly a month. I'm going to be ordering my PC in the next 3 to 4 weeks, so I should have that very, very soon. So that's exciting. I'm going to get a bunch of new toys and get right back into making content. I'm going to get back into making Parcel Play. I've got me Hunt Showdown stuff that I'm planning on doing. You can find me on Twitter as well, and that's at _General_C, and on Twitch, which I will be getting back to doing when I get my new PC as well. The same, but General _General_C. I keep getting confused with that. I really need to take those underscores out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's me. Probably going to be playing some more games throughout the week, surely. I'm a gamer, so. I've been working on an idea for a comic as well, and I'm sort of fleshing that out in my mind and on paper. So the last few nights I've been doing some research on how that works, because I don't know how that works myself. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
The best person to speak to for comics, if you want to have a conversation about comics, is Everborn Saga.
I'll have to DM him. I did think of that last night. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been working on. So I'm trying to flesh out story ideas and come up with a solid name and all that, characters. So that's pretty much it from me.
Awesome stuff, awesome stuff. And as usual, you can find the links for the gen underneath in the description below. For myself, again, as always, you can find me on Monday nights, Primetime Gaming with Boomstick, on the Double Barrel Gaming YouTube channel. You can find us again next week, of course, on the main Midweek Mix-Up podcast. This week we have Geordie from Xbox Era joining us as our guest. And then the following week, of course, we have Miles Dompier joining us from Windows Central Gaming. An Xbox chat.
A bit later, right?
Yes, that was a 9:30 at night start time. Woo! That's a late one. But no, that'll be awesome as well. But of course, yes, you can find us again. If you love these Sunday shows, please share them out. Please like them. And if you're not already subscribed and you're watching either beforehand or after the fact, of course, please make sure you drop a subscription down below. It is free, so you don't lose anything. And I hope you enjoy the content. Until then, guys, have an awesome evening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And of course, your week ahead. Go and enjoy some games, and we will see you all again next time.
Thanks for chilling with us, chat. See ya.
Yes. Have a good one.
You